Oh, what's this? How to be cool in 2025. Seems simple. Step 1, build a sweet as fuck shed. Done. Step 2, dress like a patriotic cowboy. And step 3, buy a badass American truck. Dress like a cowboy. And buy a badass American truck.
So Sam did just that. He put on his favorite boots, shirt, and heck, he even polished his buckles. You see, Sam knew it was time to become a man. An American man. How, you might ask? By purchasing a 460 cubic inch bald eagle screaming V8 motherfucking F truck, of course.
Well, doesn't get much more American than this. Okay, well, after that little skit, you probably know now the cat's out of the bag. We have gone American. Everything's better when it's bigger. You know what I mean? And if your boyfriend says otherwise, chances are he's got a tiny little... This is our latest project, cool car, dream car that I've wanted to have for a long, long time. It is a 1985 Ford F250 long wheelbase, 7.5 litre, 460 cubic inch big block, 8-foot tray, crew cab, super cab, king cab, I don't know what you want to call it, but it's a fucking 6-seat twin bench seat, 4-speed manual vehicle from Portland, Oregon, and it is full of fucking character, let me tell you. Now, a little bit of backstory. None of you probably saw this coming. A little bit of a curveball. Sam, you haven't finished the GQ. Sam, you haven't started the 60 series. Sam, the 80 doesn't work. I don't care. I wanted to buy another car, and here we fucking are. A little bit of backstory, at least, backstory that we know about this car so far. Built in 85, spent pretty much its whole life in Portland, Oregon. It was imported in 2017 by Aussie Car Imports, I think. It lived in New South Wales for a while, and from what we can tell, mostly just lived in a paddock, not being registered, not being driven, not being maintained, not being loved that much. Then it was purchased by someone up in Noosa. He got it. It basically sat out the front of his place for a long, long time until he decided to sell it. And then I went and bought it and give it the life and the love that it deserves. Now, I know what you're thinking. Portland, Oregon, isn't that right on the west coast? Isn't that right up north? Yes. The two things you want to avoid when buying an imported vehicle, but we like to live dangerously. And this one, I think, is the galvanized cab and has really been a survivor. There is zero structural rust. I mean, other than the patina, this thing is super, super clean. There's not even really any dents or anything. And it's, for the most part, completely original, which we love to see. Every car that we've just about bought on this channel, the 80, the GQ, the 60, and now this, have been all basically completely original vehicles when we've bought them, which I think is a really good way to do it because you know what you're fucking getting.
Damn good deal.
There's no hidden nasty no-nos, you know what I mean? Which is super, super sick. Now, the plans for this, I'll tell you in just a second, but I'm gonna give you a quick run around of what we've done to this vehicle so far to get it registered, running and driving. And then I'm gonna give you a little squiz through it because this really is like going through a 1980s time capsule. It's so, so sick. Anyway, let's go for a wrap around. Okay, so when I went to look at this car, it was in a state of not disrepair, but it was definitely not that loved or looked after. We had to do a couple of things immediately to get it not just registered, it was unregistered. Had to get it registered and had to get it basically driving because the thing was so for starters, massive shout out to my mate Todd. If you don't know him, he's Todd's Mods on Instagram. He is the F-Truck OBS wizard. He has got an old F350 dually with a diesel. He knows these things like the back of his hands. Basically, when I first got this car, we were having to open the bonnet and jump start it with 2 wires to the starter solenoid to get the thing running, and then quickly jump in the car and shut the bonnet and hopefully catch it before it would stall out. So I bought a new starter solenoid, couldn't get it working. We put a new starter motor in it, couldn't get it working, and Todd came and just gave it the Yoda touch and somehow got it all sorted and dialed, and it turned out to be a problem with the key barrel, so that is all fixed. Starts on the key like a car should, and well, yeah, does now, which is exciting. The handbrake shoes were locked on, so we freed those up. Massive shout out to Todd as well. We fitted up a set of 285, 75, 16 Maxxis razors because the tyres were on there. We'll put them on the screen here. Were completely delaminated and like down to the belts, and we're all fucked. There's no way we could have driven it. I picked this up from Noosa, so about an hour north, and I genuinely think if we tried to drive it home that day, it would have exploded and been all bad. So we didn't even risk that. We got these fitted up at Tyre Power Caloundra. Massive shout out to Maxxis as well. Coming around the sides of the car, we got it tinted. That's why I blacked out window tinting. This thing was like an absolute fishbowl when we bought it. So yeah, we had to go get it tinted immediately. So we just put the darkest legal tint on there, I think, because you don't really want the full blacked out appeal on these 80s trucks. I think it looks a bit silly, so you've got to have a little bit of a balance going on. What else have we done? That's honestly pretty much it. Otherwise, it was a very good car. Like I said, we freed up the handbrake because that was all locked on and being really grim. And the only other thing we did was there was the legitimate, I say this with no grains of salt, this is truthful, the ugliest fucking rear bumper I'd ever seen on any American truck in the entire existence of the fucking world. So another massive shout out to Todd. He had a spare factory chrome bumper for this thing. So we whacked that on with the help of my boy Dan at Sunshine Powder Coatings. And now the thing looks pretty original and pretty goddamn freaking spectacular, might I say. Anyway, that's enough waffling about the shit that we've done. Oh, under the bonnet, we did one other thing as well, which I'll show you in a second when we talk about the motor. Should we do that now? Let's do that now. Let's do that now. When I say mostly original, obviously this is, you know, your factory optioned bonnet stay. And see this shoelace? That's also factory. I don't know. Get your minds out of the gutter. Okay, so what you're looking at is a bit of a dinosaur. Now, if you know anything about Americans, bigger is better, size matters. We want the most amount of displacement possible for what seems like the least amount of power possible. This is a 460 cubic inch V8 Ford big block, 7.5 litre if you are more familiar with that terminology. Now, you'd be thinking, fuck, that'd be powerful. You'd be so wrong. This thing, from what I could tell reading, and I can't read, so it's really been not easy, but what I can tell is the early model 7.5s, the 460s, were like 400 horsepower, really powerful things and very torquey. This engine was put in the vehicles that were designed for towing heavy loads. It's a really torquey, really tow-friendly engine. Then emissions came in like 1984, I think, so sadly this was subjected to all the emissions BS, and as a result Ford basically I think had to change the piston design and a little bit of head design in these things to get them actually even remotely fuel efficient and emissions compliant, and then as a result the power dropped to like 220, 250 horsepower or something, but the torque remained very similar. So is it the end of the world? No, not really, but it is a shame that this is such a big motor and makes almost no power, but it's really cool. 7.5 litre. It's at the time was the biggest V8 Ford offered and the biggest V8 just about Ford's manufactured since, I'm pretty sure. It's definitely one of the biggest displacement engines you'd find factory in any pickup truck or just about any car in the world still to this day. 7.5 litres is monstrous. You know, you've got the Godzilla motors, which are 7.3s, your Power Strokes, which are a 6.9, I think. You know, you've got all these Rams and Cummins and shit like that running around. It's still, this is a massive engine by comparison to all of those, which is super, super sick. This car had a couple of different factory options fitted. It had power steering, which was an option. It had aircon, which was an option, and this had all those boxes ticked. You'll also see in the cutaways a stack of random smog canisters, emission sphere, vacuum tanks, and all that sort of shit. And that was all part of the emission system, which is over on the right-hand side corner of the vehicle and has proved nothing but fucking annoying since owning this car. When we bought it, the carb was pretty well toasted and had a serious mud wasp infestation. So we had to put a brand new Holly on there as well. Got the electric choke sorted too, which has made daily driving this thing, which I'm doing right now, an absolute breeze, which we absolutely love. About 36 gallon fuel capacity. Don't know what that is in the metric system. It's something like 15 bolt Eagles or something. And otherwise it's been really, really good. It works, it runs. We had to fix a little coolant leak when we first got it, but otherwise it's been super good. The only thing that Recarb that fitted the Holly told us is that the vac advance in the Dizzy is shit the bed. So at some point we'll need to chuck a new distributor in there. Whether we do some sort of performance upgrades and that sort of thing on this, I'm not 100% sure yet. It's one of those things that's 190,000 miles, which is not much for a truck of engine this size and the year that it is. So whether we muck with the engine, even though it's been supremely reliable, it's all numbers matching at the moment too, so maybe we don't want to mix with that. But you know, it is what it is. In a future episode, you'll see me getting my hands dirty. I know you'll probably think it's AI chat GPT generated, but we're gonna give this thing a full mechanical makeover in here as well and just get it running that little bit happier and a little bit nicer. But otherwise, this is the power plant of the thing. There were diesel variants of these, I believe, non-turbo diesel might I add, and were seriously lacking power. Most people go out and chuck a Banks turbo kit on those. And then there was a lot of these, like, you know, Bullnose is the sort of OBS body style that is this truck. The Bullnose, a lot of them came with like smaller V8s, and people put different smaller, you know, V8s in them and that sort of thing. So the fact that this is still got the original motor makes me really fucking happy. Also, you walk back, Mr. Cameraman, let me show you like the most, Americans, man, that's fucking, I don't know if it's autism or genius. What's this, you might be wondering? Well, I don't know if Ford was like, you know, foreshadowing your future ownership. This is exactly what you think it is. This is a service light that you could flick on and off, magnetic base, so that you could work on your car at night, or if you needed roadside or anything, you're good to go. You'd have a torch built in underneath your bonnet. And the cable that's on this thing is so long that you could actually walk this like pretty much to the back of your car and still be able to do it. So yeah, if you needed to change tires or anything at night, you could. This thing is actually super sick. It even has the original tire iron and stuff bolted to the inner guard here. So I like it a lot. Anyway, let's jump inside and talk about the beautiful interior that it is. Okay, this is about as 80s as it gets. Short of an 80s hoe house, this is like the most quintessential 80s sort of interior you're gonna find. You've got about 37 different soft finishes and soft touches on the inside of here in mostly red velour, which is gross, but also incredible all at the same time. Now, another factory option that this car had when the box was ticked back in the day was cruise control, which still works. Insane. I don't know how that has survived all these years. You know, that's the sort of thing that you'd think would go wrong very quickly, but apparently not, which I'm all about. In here, completely original, unmolested. At some point, someone's obviously had a UHF mounted here, which we've taken out, and then I think it had a dash mat on it as well with some double-sided adhesive, so hopefully we can get some of that orange goop remover and get all that off. But overall in here is completely original, and I absolutely love that. It's 6 seats, which I know is ridiculous for the size of the cab, but you've got a bench seat in the back and you've got these sort of uniquely folding seats either way, so they both sort of pivot into the middle. And then in the back here, you've got the super cab bench seat, which has got a little bit of a party trick, which I'll show you in a second, but that's a massive lap sash that goes across and the buckles are sort of behind the bench in the back there. So you can put all the boys in the back and you can put more of the boys in the front, which is absolutely gangster. Now, things up here, you'll notice fuel gauge, and then one of these levers over here down by the climate control is a front and a rear fuel tank. It's got 2 fuel tanks, front tank and a rear tank. Cannot get it to pick up fuel out of the rear tank, so that's something on our to-do list, but it is currently happy as running and driving on the front tank. It loves it. No idea what the mileage is per gallon, per litres per 100, don't know. Don't even really know the fuel tank capacity because it takes so long to fill because it's got a block breather, or maybe it's just a shitty design. I don't know, to be confirmed, but we'll get there. Massive steering wheel, 4-speed manual on the floor with the bent gear stick, which I really, really love. The original AM FM tuner. This was an XLT Lariat. So not a full XLT Lariat, XLT with a Lariat package, I think. From what I can tell reading, again, I'm not 100% familiar with these things like I am Toyotas, but I'm pretty sure when you selected enough options, i.e. aircon, power steering, cruise control, you got a Lariat allocated badge, which is on either side of the pillars. It's not a full Lariat, but an XLT with a Lariat package. I guess it's like a BMW with the M Sport package sort of arrangement. But in here, unmolested wood grain, not a cracked dash, original carpet, not torn. All the seats are in fantastic condition. Sliding rear window, which we love. The aircon does work, sort of. It's a little bit fucked, but we'll get all that sort of stuff fixed. I'm really keen on this thing. There's something that I haven't told you about it. You might hate it and you might love it. We'll tell you in a second once we get out of the car. But for now, let's head up the back and we'll talk about the tub. Okay, this is one of the main things I think I was looking at when I was looking for an F truck. Now, I've always, for a long, long time, wanted an OBS F truck, old body style, so sort of up until late 80s, before they went to the sort of more modern looking stuff. And it needed to be an OBS Ford, it needed to be a big dirty V8 petrol, and it needed to be a long wheelbase. Those were my pretty much only prerequisites. Other than that, I didn't care if it was an F100, 150, 250, whatever it might have been, single axle, dually in the back, didn't matter. Those were just the three things I was chasing specifically. From what we can tell, this vehicle has at some point had a fifth wheel fitted to it, because obviously you can see the center of that tub is cut out, would have been to receive a fifth wheel, and then over here on the tub side, you can see where the trailer plug would have been for that. So that's kind of cool. This thing's definitely done some towing in its life, and you're only human and we're only going to be doing the same thing with it. So that's kind of cool to know. From what I can read online, these things are like can tow 6 ton off a fifth wheel, which is absolutely ridiculous, or 4.5 ton off the back of them, either off the factory rear bumper. So you can just put a tow ball straight on the rear bumper, which is so American, I love it. Otherwise, this has had a tow bar fitted at some point with 4.5 ton rating, or 10,000 pounds, I think it is, which works out to be about 4.5 something tons of tow rating. It's a real grey area because there were so many different body options, drivetrain options, engine combos, gearbox combos, wheelbase combos, that the actual GVM, GCM sort of thing is almost impossible to know. We think the GVM of this is just over 4 ton. We don't really know, but that's a lot of shit in this tub, because these don't actually weigh as much as you might think, because it's a C-shaped C-frame chassis, so not a fully boxed chassis. This particular vehicle is 4x2, not 4x4, so you save that weight out of the front diff as well. And there's no electronics in it. And a lot of electronics and motors and bits and pieces and wiring is actually what goes, what a lot of the weight is in modern vehicles. So it's actually not as heavy as what you might think. And I like it. I like it a lot. Let's go back up to the front. I want to explain why we've got the 4x2, and I want to explain exactly what our plans are with this vehicle, because I am really excited. Sorry to interrupt this episode. I just wanted to bring you guys a quick little exciting announcement. We have partnered back with Quadlock. I've been using this stuff for literally years, since before I was even at Sparesbox. I've always had their cases and always had their products, and now they've jumped on to help me out and get my vehicles fitted out with all their gear, from the 360 range and a whole bunch of other goodies, even stuff for at home. If you guys want to check out any of the Quadlock range or get anything for your cars, head to quadlockcase.net. You know how the laws are with mobile phone cameras and the police cracking down. Make sure you stay safe and legal. Get yourself a proper setup. It costs less than you think. Anyway, back to the F truck. Okay, welcome back to the episode. Sorry for that short little interruption. Now, a couple of things we need to talk about. Pricing, 4x2, why have I done that? And do we love the patina, and what the plans are with this vehicle? Let's make this a little bit of a competition. This vehicle was listed up on Marketplace for $24,000. I want you guys to comment below what you think I ended up paying for it. It was up for 24 grand. It was obviously in the state that I mentioned, needed some love, needed tires and wasn't registered. It was up for 24. Drop a comment below what you think I paid. The person closest to what I paid without going over, I will send out a Lost and Living merch pack, hoodie, shirt, hat, stickers. So drop your comments below. Take a moment now. Take it all in. What do you think it's worth? Anyway, this is a 4x2 vehicle. Why is that important? Well, I've got an 80 series, which is 4x4. I've got a 60 series, which is 4x4. I've got a GQ, which is 4x4. I've got a 79, which is 4x4. I don't need another four-wheel drive in my life. That's the God honest truth. These things are never gonna be, even four-wheel drive, these are never gonna be half as capable as what any of the cars in my shed are gonna be as well. So we didn't necessarily need a four-wheel drive one. And what we have planned for this isn't to take it wheeling and go touring and go traveling in it, because this is just gonna be a fat lap cruising car that is just so sick and full of character, and it's patinaed and it's just gangster. So the 4x2 made sense for us. You can four-wheel drive convert these, you can get four-wheel drive ones of these, but you can still modify the fuck out of these, because in America, they sold just as many 4x2s as they did 4x4s. So the parts availability and the aftermarket support for this particular chassis and frame is still second to none. Even here in Australia, there are so many parts available for these things. It's super, super sick. We love that. Our plans for this are your quintessential epic, spicy offset chrome, American racing style rims. We've got a big set of tires coming for it. We've got a massive lift that we're importing from the States. We're gonna do a little bit of tidying up on the engine. We're gonna get it running really well. We'll probably put a little bit of a tow pack and a Red Arc Tow Pro in there as well. I just want this thing to be like bonnet height here. I want it to be factory chrome bars. I want it to keep the overriders. I don't want to put any bar work on it or anything like that. I want to keep our little car steps. And I want this thing to just be your gangster, like Texas farm truck, you know what I mean? Like big, like bonnet here, right? I want kids to be thinking this is a monster truck. It sounds fat as, we'll put some clips in a second. And the best part is you can get massive lifts and, you know, like lift blocks and suspension components and stuff for these still from the States, brand new, which is really cool. Obviously a little bit harder to get locally, but there is so much support here for people bringing stuff in, which is really, really cool. The rear of this is like the biggest diff you've ever seen in your life. Leaf sprung mega dog. It's actually got air shocks fitted in the back and helper springs on the leaves, which makes me think it's definitely done some fifth wheel towing. Massive solid axle, leaf sprung rear end, and the front is actually twin beams. So it's sort of like they're mounted in the middle there, and you've got the twin beams. I guess sort of like how you'd see a trophy truck set up. Very much like you'd see a trophy truck set up with the independent twin beam in the front end and a solid axle rear and rear wheel drive only. It's basically a trophy truck, guys, what can I say? So yeah, and the other thing I really loved about this car is that it was the perfect amount of patina, which is important for a couple of reasons. For starters, something about an OBS style truck with patina is so fucking hot. Like, it's the right amount of patina too. Like, it's just got that sort of dusty, rusted layer on top, but it's not major rust anywhere. And you can see it's weathered, and the fact that, you know, we know where this truck came from. It's got the original owner's manual in there, the original service history of the vehicle, all in there from when it was in the States, and it's come over here and this is how it survived, I think is really, really cool. We have got some plans to preserve this patina and elevate it, which you will see in future episodes to come. But maybe you guys have got some suggestions or some things that you want to see me do to it. I just want to do all the things I just mentioned, get some brand new chrome, new badges, new lights, bits and pieces, and keep the body all patinaed, and then everything else try to replace and just make it look absolutely schmick as. Anyway, if you have any suggestions, if you have any parts hookups, drop in the comments of this video, because I'll be reading them. I want all the help and advice I can get. I don't know these things from a bar of soap, and you guys probably know them better than I do. So give me your advice. If you've liked this, subscribe, and we'll see you next Thursday.